Hi, my name is Lewis Howes, and welcome to the Daily Motivation Show.
The biggest reason that people quit is because they're looking at the big picture, man. With SEAL training, there's no single evolution that's that difficult.
Yeah.
Really, I mean, it's 4-mile runs and 2-mile swims, and it's nothing that you couldn't get up from this table and go do. But the guys that quit, they couldn't break it down like into digestible pieces.
1 hour at a time, one moment at a time, brother. 1 day at a time.
Yep. I remember an evolution during Hell Week. All it was a 1-mile repeat. The instructors just got everybody together and said, all you got to do is run 1 mile over and over again until we tell you to stop. There's no time standards. There's no.
You could walk.
You could walk. I mean, you had to look like you were running, but you could walk. So I'm out here like, heck yeah, dude. All I got to do is run 1 mile at my own pace on a sunny beach on Coronado Island. Like, this is amazing.
No sprinting,
nobody's bothering me.
It's like vacation.
Yeah, man. But that was the single evolution during Hell Week where we lost the most guys. And it was because of what we just talked about. They could not, certain people just could not focus on that mile, dude. They all they could think about was all the miles in front of them, which they didn't know if this was the last one or not. So they looked at it as a big picture, and they just couldn't handle it. And really, it was the easiest evolution that we did in all of Hell Week.
Do you remember how many miles you actually ran?
Dude, I have no clue. And what the instructors do, they just keep it going until enough people quit.
And then like, okay.
And then they call it. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, we're going to do 10 miles, 15, 20 miles, whatever, until many people quit.
That's right. Yeah. On an ultra race, when I'm 95 miles deep into a race and I've got to climb a 2,000-foot mountain, how you think I do it, bro?
One step at a time.
Yeah. I mean, I pick a tree 20 yards ahead of me, and I get to that tree, and then I pick another tree, and then eventually I'm at the summit. If you will push yourself hard enough, you reach this place, I call it the steady state, and it's where it's not going to hurt any worse. And it's not going to get any harder. It's the steady state, man.
It's going to stay hard.
It's going to just stay just like that. That's exactly right. And it's almost like for me, it's almost like a primal feeling. Like everything else is stripped away, and all I have to deal with is this pain, physical pain that I'm feeling. For me, it's a beautiful thing, man. I like getting to that point in the first place. I literally just tell myself, I accept this.
Wow.
And I almost just like in my mind's eye, I see it passing through me.
The pain. The
pain. If you will stop fighting against it, it diminishes its power. But as long as you're fighting against the pain, or you're using your energy to fight against the cold, it's going to continue to gain traction and power over your mind.
Yeah.
So it's just forcing yourself to let go and stop fighting against that discomfort and just rock and roll. We're going to have thoughts in our head that pop up that we don't want to be there. But it's when you give those thoughts power. One of my best friends going through SEAL training, he came to me one morning and he said he had been, I could tell he had been in a bad place mentally, but he was doing fine, progressing through training. But he came to me one morning and he said out loud for the first time, I don't think I'm good enough to make it through this training anymore, which was a lie. He was completely physically capable of doing every single thing that we had to do that day and every other day. But when he came and said that, they didn't have enough traction to stop him until he came and told me that out loud.
Spoke it into existence.
He spoke it out loud. When he told me that, it was just like seconds later he was going to ring the bell.
Really?
Yeah. And there was nothing that I could do to stop him. Your tongue is the thing. I compare it to a rudder. A rudder is the main control surface that steers a ship, steers the direction of a ship. Your tongue is your rudder. It's going to steer the direction of your life and the outcomes of your situations 98% of the time. We had to run 4.16 miles every hour on the hour. Each one of those hours I would dedicate to a fallen brother in the SEAL teams. And
their actual names?
Yeah, I had a wrist coach that I was wearing, and I would have their, a index card with their face, name, their family's names, their date of sacrifice. And some of those guys were guys that I had spent a lot of time with, you know what I mean? The way that race worked, there was no definitive finish line. You just kept running until only one runner was left standing. Mm-hmm. So I could not promise my brothers that I would win. I couldn't promise them victory because I didn't know if my body would break. I didn't know where the race was going to end. But I could promise them that if I died in death, meaning death within a situation, not physical death, but death in this scenario would be of my race. If that time came, I would die out on the race course battling for every step that I took.
Not on the chair.
I won't die in the chair. That's exactly
Sitting around
right.
waiting.
Yep. So at the end of each one of these laps, there was a chair. So if I came in off the lap in 55 minutes, I could sit down for 5 minutes. And it was hard. A lot of people died in the chair that day,
They're
dude.
I'm done.
Because it was hard to rise back up, man. I went out on that lap, and so it was muddy. I had tied my shoes too tight, and so my shoelaces were sawing through that large tendon in the front of my ankles.
It's painful.
Yeah, so it got to the point that I could no longer flex my toes toward my shin anymore. So every step was like I was dragging my feet like lead weights. So I went out on that lap, and I pretty much, I was broken, dude.
Yeah, your whole body.
But I wasn't going to die in a chair, dude.
You were out on the lap, though.
I was out on the lap.
You fell on the lap, or you didn't make it back in time, and you're
I got out there, dude, and I remember looking down at Blake, and dude, I started crying.
Wow.
Because I knew at a certain point that I could not make it back in time.
Oh my gosh.
And I thought, what does Blake think of me right now, and then I just had this sense of peace come over me, dude, and I could see his face in my mind's eye laughing at my poor physical state. Because we always find, team guys do, we always find humor in adversity. I mean, no matter how miserable that got, we would be joking and laughing at each other. So I saw him laughing at me, and then I found a stick on the ground and hobbled my way back to the finish line.
Yeah, so you made it through. It wasn't in the time allotted. It was after the time. Right?
It was after the time. That's
gotcha.
right. So
116 miles. Wow.
Yeah, but you can I apply that now, that don't die in the chair, to all aspects of my life, man, whether it's business or personal relationships or marriages or you name it, dude.
I am so excited for you to finish the rest of your day strong. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to click the link in the description and it'll take you to the full episode of my other show, The School of Greatness. Make sure to come back tomorrow for another episode of the Daily Motivation Show.